Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. This is a bonus class actually for Mega Wellness Summit. I brought Vicki Murphy back on to chat with you all. The intention of this class is so that whoever is on the live call with us right now, that's meaning you, you guys can come into the call and have a reading with Vicki. So the intention is to really understand what Vicki does, because it is on a really awesome level that really goes above many people that I've even worked with. And we were just saying in the pre-show that even goes above what Doreen Virtue is doing with her angel cards. Now, I love Doreen Virtue. I really have followed her for many years, but you know, what Vicki does is she incorporates mind, body, and spirit. And what I did is I asked her to go and get her cards. She does sell her cards. I have her cards. So I left them at home. Unfortunately, I'm at my mom and dad's for a few days. So yeah, unfortunately I don't have my cards, but Vicki has hers. So she is, she cannot wait to chat with you. She's super excited. And so this is your time. And so whoever wants to come on the call first, I will go ahead and announce that. The way that you come on the call is there's 3 different ways. You can go ahead and on your screen, it says manage participants. You go ahead and click raise hand. Then I will unmute you and you can begin speaking. The other way is to press *6. That will unmute yourself. And then you go, hello, my name is blah, blah, blah. The other way is to, in the chat box, message me. So it will say chat, and I'll message everybody right now. It says hi, so that everybody can see that. If you want to message me just personally, if you have a question and you have a little bit of fear talking one-on-one, that's okay too. Just let us know. All right. So, Vicki, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm really excited to be doing this with you, Nikki, and for everybody that's joining us. I don't typically do video, and you'll notice when I am doing this work with you, sometimes I'll have my eyes closed. It's the way that I see things energetically and dimensionally. And so I'm really excited to share everything with everyone. And who do we have here? And I may even put my glasses on for the part that I have to see. So
we don't know if they necessarily want to come in though. So we'll see. Okay. We'll see how it goes. Okay. So let's just read.
Hi.
Hi. Who do we have?
My name is Renee Hack, and I'm just calling in through my mobile, so I'm not on the video.
That's perfect. Yeah, absolutely. And Renee, did you have a specific question that you, or an area of interest that you wanted to look into?
You know, I have just within this last year, Nikki, I found your Wellness Summit last year by chance, and then was really excited for this year. And just since I've had, my kids have become very much more interested in doing things naturally and what's the best way for our family for health. And I just have a really strong feeling, I guess, that that's something that I'm supposed to do for my life. But I don't know, I struggle with it too because I'm super busy. So do I, dive into, that, I guess, take my life that direction and really get into it more than just with my family, like helping other people, if you know what I mean.
That's a really good question. And a lot of people are discovering what's making them happy, right? And as they are aligning with their true soul's purpose here, and this is part of your path, it is part of your path of growth. What we want to remind everybody, though, is that stepping into that flow, it really is a flow. Energy is constant and flowing, and more energy surrounding this energy of information and experiences will come to you. But we want to allow ease and balance. There's no rush. And remember too, that myself included, we're all here to have a human walk. Okay, so just because I am psychic and a medium and I'm able to do all of that, and I do my healing work, and that is my job here, and it is part of my life purpose. I'm also here to be a mom and a wife, and to keep everything in balance is a way of learning not only to trust yourself, but to say to your angelic realm, I trust that you're going to bring me those right and true experiences for my life purpose. And your job is to play in the energy, to find what it is that you do love, to take action, yes, but with ease. So you don't want to overload yourself, in other words, you know,
Right.
And if you're feeling overloaded, you might want to take a step back and see how you can bring a little more balance into your life. And for you, I did pick up a lot of energy kind of in the root chakra, more to one side. So that's kind of the back, lower back, and hip area. And what that energy is all about, what that's showing me is it's part of what you're studying. And part of your study and your soul plan for you, the virtue of support of self, feeling supported not only by yourself, hearing yourself. And this is what the angelic message is too, is they're saying, you know, you're diving into the lives of others and supporting them, right, as a mother and etc. And sometimes we define ourselves by that and we lose ourselves. We forget who we are. And then we're not really giving the best example of how to love yourself and how to stay in balance to our children. So they're saying kind of watch that balance. Balance is what they're saying for you. So I hope that makes sense for you.
It does.
Yeah, and definitely follow your dream of not only nutrition, but there's a lot of creative energy within you that is wanting to come out. And that's just a part of who you are. And you want to nurture, you know, acknowledge, of course, and nurture that part of yourself. So, and there's so much more, you know, I could go into a really deep reading with you. It's really interesting energy I'm looking at. But I hope that, you know, in the sample little session that we're doing here, that it's making sense for you to go in, kind of step back a little from being over busy and maybe feeling a little overwhelmed, so that you can honor, nurture, and love yourself better by engaging in your area of interest with nutrition and health. It's definitely part of your energy.
Is it
Thank
Renee?
you.
It's Renee, right?
Yeah.
Is this the question that you have at hand? Is that you should be going into more of a nutrition background, like becoming a health coach or a nutritionist, going back to school?
No, more so just do I keep on the path and just incorporate it more into my life. Like I've become very interested with essential oils, and I've been working with some friends on like a paleo type cookbook and things like that. And it just kind of, is that really the direction I should be heading? I feel very excited about all of those things and I like it. But I was just, you know, is this the right direction for me, I guess? So yeah, that really helps.
Yeah. Oh, good. It is. It's showing up in your energy. Absolutely. As an area of interest and part of your passion. It's interesting too, when you mentioned about your friends and the paleo cookbook, and part of the message that came through at that point in time is that's a wonderful support system. But I think as I'm looking ahead, I think I'm going to see you doing more things on your own, which is interesting too. So be open to that.
Interesting.
Okay. Thank you.
The the world is limitless, right? We have so many things we can do in this life. So thank you, Renee, for coming on, and I appreciate your question very much. All right. So
yes, thank you.
Thank you. We'll talk to you later. I'm going to go ahead and mute you. Okay. So before we take another caller, I just want to go ahead and, introduce you properly, because you do so many things. So if you can name what you do, that would be super helpful for our callers.
Okay. So the umbrella is really integrative energy practitioner. That is what I do. Now, the different modalities to create that, I'm a psychic, and psychic energy is really about being able to, see into the future and look at things in your current life, etc. Mediumship, is also a part of my area of giftedness, and that is about connecting with your loved ones on the other side. And I've had a lot of really extraordinary experiences, but all of it, everything that I'm going to tell you about, whether it's I'm a Reiki master, and I'm a past life specialist. So I do all of that, but all of it has to do with the reintegration of energy for the purpose of healing. So I'm a healer.
Right.
And that's really, at the crux is that I'm a healer.
And it goes beyond many people's abilities, right? You can go to a psychic and get a reading, and then you leave and you're like, I don't know. But when I went to you, it was really very different. Mm-hmm. And it was different in the way that it was so well-rounded. So we had the cards, so I had something to take away with so I could do it at home. I had the meditation CD that I could, again, take away and go home. Again, we all have these abilities to tap into a higher power. Mm-hmm. So it's really great that you are not saying, well, I'm not the only one who's gifted here. You also have gifts. So here, take these home and work on yourself. And and then we can reconnect and build them up, because through GMOs, through chemtrails, and through poisons that have been in our air, food, water, fluoride, all those things, we're losing our psychic ability. We're losing our pineal gland. We're losing these abilities to tap in to the higher self. So it's really great to have you come on and exercise that power with people, and you know, just being in the room with you and having that space, that time with you was really nice. So,
well, thank you so much. And I want to touch on that because, you know, we're not going to do everything here that I am capable of doing, but I do want to give people a little idea. I work in theta energy a lot when I'm doing a meditation, and that takes us back to a place where a lot of our belief energy was first coming into existence. And that allows, and I'm glad you mentioned the pineal gland too, but all of this is about kind of healing that by layers. You know, it's layers of healing that we peel off as we process through our life. And that's really the purpose of being here. And that being said, with our soul plan in place, that's what we're doing here. We're coming here to use this physical existence as a way to grow and evolve our soul by living through certain and specific life experiences and challenges that give us a choice. Yeah. An opportunity for growth comes from choice. So pineal glands are being calcified, and that has to do with some of the aspects that you just mentioned. And there are a lot of vibrational aspects of healing that I use, a lot of different modalities. I too use essential oils. I use a lot of sprays. I use a lot of crystals in my healing because they have real energy about them. Yeah. That's why crystals are used in watches. They have a frequency, you know, vibration. So thanks to the study of quantum physics, which I love and near and dear to my heart, we're starting to be able to have real tangible things for people to understand that what I'm doing is not hoodoo voodoo. It's not weird stuff. It's really science. It's real. There's a science behind it.
Yeah.
And so that's why results are so strong. Have incredible results with people. I've seen tumors shrink. I've seen all kinds of things happen. So it's fascinating study.
Yeah, you work with cancer patients, which is awesome.
Yep.
I think
Absolutely.
that's so cool and so needed. My father has cancer, so I should probably get you guys together.
Yeah.
So he just has to be a willing vessel. That's the thing.
Right.
So
yes. There we go with that choice, right?
Yeah.
The whole choice dimension.
Yeah. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I love my father.
I would love to work with him. So we'll see.
Okay. So who's up next? You can go ahead and unmute yourself by doing *6. You can go ahead and let me know to unmute you through the chat box, or just go ahead and raise your hand. Either way works. Either way works. And it's funny when we have these readings, what comes out, and it's so unexpected sometimes, where you're like, wow, like my grandmother came through with our reading. And you have a really powerful grandmother around you, and it was during a time where it was a hard time for me because of my daughter, what she had gone through. And so it was great that, just a few days later that you were there and, kind of comforting the situation. And you were telling me that your grandmother was there.
Yeah. Synchronicity, right? And serendipitous. I believe she helped guide you to that place of standing. When we open up and we say, okay, God, my angels, I need help with this thing, and it's really weighing on us, they know what we need, and we cross paths with people on purpose. There isn't any coincidence here. And she was a very lovely, strong energy. And I want people to understand that our loved ones from the other side often are helping us on this side. They come forth because they love us so much, and we all walk here together to put certain and specific challenges in place sometimes too. Yeah. If you need to study, abandonment or something, you may have asked a parent to play that role with you. And that's a very tough, concept for a lot of people. But it's what the growth opportunity is within that life experience that is what's important. And then healing it and allowing that in soulmate place of standing, when we're making these contracts with one another, we all love each other very much. And so we take birth and we come forth, finding that healing space to stand in and allowing for your connection with your grandmother or your loved ones, so strong, so healing, and it helps us get through some of these challenges that have been put in place here. Like the one that you talked about. So yeah, a lot of and right now, because there is so much growth and people are coming up in frequency, they're getting more and more psychic, and they're getting more and more connected to their loved ones. Yeah. So I do teach that, and I do teach psychic development and intuitive classes, so I can help support people in their own development to be able to connect and to use. Everybody's got giftedness. Everybody's got intuition. It's in place. So for lots of reasons. And when we're children, it's kind of how we know, don't go over there, that doesn't feel good, or don't go toward that, and they don't feel good, right? Yeah. So I do a lot of psychic development with kids. That maybe, you should work with Tatum, my little one. She's 5 and she's something else. But I want to ask you too, before we have another caller come through, what do you think about crystal children? What do you know about crystal children and these new waves of children that are coming in? It's one of my favorite topics. every generation that's being born is being born at a higher and higher frequency and more evolved. The terms crystal, rainbow, indigo,
Yeah.
are put in place to help us try to understand what we're seeing and what we're experiencing with these kids that are really bright, really technologically advanced, almost telepathic in their communication, who are having a hard time with the school systems and the way that they're being taught because they don't learn that way and they're outdated. And they're here to help us grow and change. My only issue is whether it be a spectrum label, of ADHD, or a label of crystal or anything else. My only issue with that is not one label is going to encompass that unique individual energy. And so that's my only issue with the labeling, but I do like that it is opening some eyes and opening some doors and letting people see things in a little bit of a different way and answering some questions. Reading about crystal children or reading about indigo children, and those two in particular I'll address because they're kind of the main ones. You will find bits and pieces of yourself in there, and you will find bits and pieces of your children in there. The indigo children are more of the warrior energy. They've come forth to help change the systems. And as they're going to grow and evolve into this world, again, they're the ones leading the changes in the educational system and et cetera. The crystal children are the ones that tend to be here, and they're the peacemakers and the angelic realm helpers.
I love it. Okay, let's pause that. Do we have a caller who would like to ask Vicki a question? Your number is, the last 4 digits is 9570. Do you have a question for Vicki?
It's Tracy. I'm okay. I just signed in. It's Tracy. I'm just getting situated here.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and mute you then.
Okay, thanks.
Great. And don't be afraid. Ask in the chat room if you're afraid. But I really do want to answer questions for everybody because this is a unique opportunity.
It definitely is. Yeah, you don't do this every day.
Nope.
So if you're going to get, how much are your sessions to work with you?
When I do a comprehensive session for an hour, it's $150. And I don't do lesser sessions unless we've at least completed that. I'll make exceptions on occasion with people who have at least had that one initial session, but the sessions are so life-changing. I never tell people to come back. I never tell them when to come back. That's up to them, because each person grows at a specific rate of speed. And when they get the clearing, because when I go on a comprehensive session is an energy reading, yes, and we go in and we talk about that, but then we go in really deep and I look at their energy and we go back and we do meditations and we do clearing and we do a lot of work and they come away with tools. And it can take, months to process all that or maybe even years. But I have people that I work with on a regular basis who may be going through a transition in their life. Maybe they're going through a big life transition. And so they're coming for the support and clarification and walking through that with feeling a little bit supported. Transitions can be really, really hard here in the physical. So having a grip or somebody to talk to about it is kind of helpful.
It is for sure. And
I do parties.
Go ahead. Oh, you do parties?
I do parties.
Oh, that's fun.
And so much fun. Yes. We do wine and cheese parties.
Oh, that's fun. Well, you're in Southern California, like Ventura area, I want to say.
No, we're in South. So we're near San Diego.
Oh, you're near me? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Score.
I know, right?
Totally take you up on that. That's so cool.
It's really fun.
Maybe you would do a party online like this for our Women's Wellness Academy class. So
Yeah.
I also run a school called Women's Wellness Academy. I don't know if I told you that, but
No, not too much about it, but I would love to do that. That would be fun.
yeah,
So,
and then we could get our girls together and have a session with you. That would be very cool.
yeah,
But since nobody else is coming on right now, let me just ask you a question. Oh, yay! We have somebody.
Yeah, it's just me again. I guess no one was asking a question, so I was wondering if I could ask one more.
No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
So I had asked, if this was kind of the right direction for me, and I was just wondering if there's any certain, I guess you talk like about angels. Is there any certain angel pushing me in this direction, or is there someone
actually,
leading me?
we all have our guardian angels, and I call them our angelic team. And in that angelic realm for you, when I'm looking, there are guides and spirit guides as well. There is the archangel that came through with Raphael. And then there's a guide that is standing near you that is more tribal in appearance, but believe it or not, it looks more, because of the wrappings of the feet, more like Inuit. Or something Asian. Okay, so going across into Russia, they're showing me the area now. Okay, so kind of going across into Russia in that area. And that's the part of the herbal medicinal aspect that they are interested in supporting you in, and in supporting your learning in that area. And that's why, and guides will step in for certain portions of our life, and then we can have a changing of the guides, if you will, on our angelic realm may shift and change, because maybe you're going through a different portion of your learning experience here, and you're going to need different knowledge and a different support system. So it kind of comes and goes, but your guardian angel is always with you, always, always. And then our archangels are around for all of us. And so those are two that are coming up for you.
Nice.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's awesome. We have another question that came through on the chat. So she wants to know, so she opened up her third eye once before, and she was a little bit scared and excited to try it, but she did it. And every time she laid down, she was able to open up her third eye. I'm kind of paraphrasing this. So, but now she's unable to open up her third eye. Do you have any suggestions for that?
There are some oils and teas that I would suggest. Okay, I would do that type of cleanse, because I am seeing that there's a lot of blockage there. But part of the blockage for her is coming from a past life. And it's a female past life, and they're showing me, and it has to do with the fear of stepping into her abilities. And I feel like there was some persecution in that lifetime and fear, but not the kind of persecution that you would think, death by stoning, hanging. That's not what I'm seeing. What I'm seeing is there was a female mother figure in that lifetime that was afraid for her and wanted her to suppress the energy information, and she was quite young in this life picture that they're showing me. And so she took it as that she wasn't good enough, and she kept trying to, the focus in that lifetime was to try to please the mother. And so that was a fear. And so part of that energy of belief of that it's a bad thing to do, to step into, is coming forth into this lifetime as an area of study to help her study the virtue of self-love. Because loving ourselves, God doesn't make mistakes. Okay? We have intuition. It's, yes, to be used for lots of things and lots of the aspects of intuition. I believe we're in the Bible, and there's a lot of, studies having to do with that, where parts of the Bible were removed for lots of different reasons. Who knows about the reality, right? Because it's all supposition as we study the theories. But the reality is God doesn't make mistakes. So you're having this beautiful ability. It's up to you as a responsible person to use it in a way that is for the greater good of all. So this kind of using certain frequencies of essential oils to help clear the pineal glands, cinnamon is one of them, and drinking teas, herbal teas to help cleanse will help raise the frequency. But it's really rooted in that fear of expression and expressing out as a psychic individual, and the negativity of belief that was brought forth with that. So in this lifetime too, there could have been a replication where the mother may have rejected a part of that, or she may have taught that it was not good, or she may have even been born into a religious situation where it was taught that that wasn't good. And all of those challenges are put in place on purpose with love, so that you can challenge yourself to learn to love yourself wholly best first. Because in loving yourself all the way, only then can you be able to love others in a healthy and whole way. Only then can you be modeling that behavior to children, should you have children. And only then can you be attracting that in a mate, because you have to be standing in that high frequency of self-love. So
I love that.
Let's see if that helped.
I hope that's helpful for you. That's great. So if there's anybody else who wants to come on, go ahead and unmute yourself by doing *6. Or you can go ahead and type in a question in the chat box, or you can go ahead and raise your hand. So I was just going to ask you about, my mom and dad, about they're selling this house.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of in a situation now financially where, and I probably shouldn't be saying this live, but that is kind of rough. And so it goes where they have to sell this house. So without me saying any more, do you have any insight on that? Can you tap into my mom? I'm in her home.
Perfect. What happens in that situation, especially in and around the energy of your mom and dad, remember that we're all here walking to learn, right? And some of us use finance as a vehicle for learning to love ourselves best. Some use relationships, okay? And so challenges of not good enough can show up as not enough finance a lot of times. And in this situation in particular, though, I see that there's some control issues and not wanting to let go of control. Often when we are forced growth to let go of a property, it's for the sake of guidance. And you're realizing that it's become a financial burden and that it doesn't really fit who you are anymore and doesn't really fit the direction you want to take your life. Or now when you're dealing with two people, there is a push-pull, because one is more wanting to walk forward and let go, and the other is not, out of fear, okay?
Sure.
And I know without saying too much, that you know what's going on. And just so everybody can be clear, we have not discussed this before. I'm just looking. So it's really interesting to look and to see, because as we discuss it, I think that a lot of people can relate, and hopefully it can help others as well. Letting go of control sometimes is about saying to God and your angels, okay, I trust that you know what is best for me, and I trust that I am supported, and everything else works out, and I'm going to stand in that belief instead, because that aligns me at a higher frequency with where I'm supposed to be standing and where I'm supposed to be going.
Again, it's that fear thing.
So it's giving,
It's a fear thing. Remember when we talked about in the pre-show, it's like, fear is a good thing. When we do have fears, because, we're changing and we're growing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, if somebody's on the call right now full of fear, full of, I might lose my job, or I did lose my job and I don't know where my next paycheck is coming from, or maybe I'm in a terrible relationship and my husband might leave me, or he's cheating on me, or whatever the case may be, or I might lose my home because I can't afford it. Those are really big. They're real, and they're fears for people. And so, what you have said is that just ask for guidance and trust, right?
Yeah.
That's hard to do when you're so in it,
right.
because your mind is like spinning, your adrenals are like totally weakened, and there's a whole body thing that's going on.
Right. And of course, you go into the fight or flight, because you feel like you're going to die. That's that first thing. And so there's an animal instinct there, right? And so we don't want to make light of it, right? Because it's a huge transition and a big process that we go through anytime we're facing a fear. But two things I want to say about that is fear is a tool for growth. Every time we do manage our way through a fear, and it really is about managing the fear, walking through it as we walk through it, we gain inner strength, and we're less fearful for the next change and the next change and the next change, right? And when we gain that inner strength, we're coming up in frequency, and we're making a statement to God and the universe that we love ourselves enough to not stay stuck in fear and avoid, and stay in a painful place. So fear is a great tool for growth that way. Things that are transitional, like losing a home or maybe a spouse, or things that are extremely painful like that takes a lot of healing work. And again, peeling off the layers. If something is ending, it is simply making room for something new. Energy is a constant flow. It doesn't all of a sudden stop. It's a constant flow. So in order for us to all grow together, we have to allow for the cleaning of the closet, as I call it, and letting go of old sometimes, because often when we look at something that is coming to an end, there may be elements within it that, again, weren't fitting. Maybe it wasn't healthy in the first place,
Right.
And that's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to look at.
Yeah.
So
Tracy, did you want to come on? I'm seeing Tracy.
I did see her.
Hi, Tracy.
Hi.
She's in Women's Wellness Academy. She's one of our students.
Oh, hey, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. Sorry to be interrupting everything. I got the call and thought I'd sign on this way, and I'm in the car, so.
Perfect.
Do you have a question for Vicki?
I did. I've done quite a few meditations and had readings that have been absolutely life-changing for me and beautiful. And my family is very intuitive and spiritual, and it's all about love, and I love it. My question is, recently during my meditations, I have been, when I feel like I make the connection, I have tears, and it's a very heavy heartfelt experience, and I'm wondering if there's a way to do it a little bit easier, if that's part of the process for me right now, or I just don't know.
It's definitely part of the process for you right now. You're one who's reconnecting with feelings, and despite the fact that you're in a very spiritual family, gifted, reconnecting to feelings in the human form is not an easy thing, especially when the challenges that you brought forth from past lives and then that were triggered in this lifetime caused you to put safety measures in place that didn't allow you to feel as much. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay.
And so what's happening is, as you are bringing your frequency up to a better place of loving yourself by doing all that you're doing, you're reconnecting, and it kind of causes, in a weird way, a little bit of mourning release, because you're releasing on different layers, releasing energy of knowledge that certain things that you wanted to be a certain way could not be that way. That causes mourning. Certain aspects of your life in the past that are being healed by your work that you're doing are coming to the forefront. And maybe certain aspects of a parent weren't exactly what you wanted and or needed, or a spouse or a relationship. Okay, that's what they're saying. So I'm just
Okay. Yeah.
don't
Oh
tell
no.
the
Right on.
messenger.
Right
And
on.
so what they're telling me about that is what's happening is you're getting in touch with those old pains and the sadness of that not being as you wanted and or needed it to be.
Right.
And it's being released. So it's very cathartic, very cathartic.
Okay.
It will lessen as you get more and more in touch with that mourning, if you will, of what it is that's causing the tears. And those were the two things that they brought up, but they're really deep. Okay. So there's some deep loss in
Right.
there that you're starting to deal with that you couldn't deal with before. That's going to open channels for you like crazy. It's going to be good.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. You're doing a great job. That's what
Awesome.
they just said. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.
Bye, Tracy.
you.
Good to see you.
Good to
I'll
see
talk
you
to you
too.
later.
Thanks, Nikki. Okay.
you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, so we have a couple of questions from a couple of people. So one is, why does anxiety, I muted Tracy. I muted you, sorry. Go ahead and click back your, your video, sorry.
There we go.
Oh, Vicki. You were right next to. Okay, sorry. That was my bad. My bad. And you're muted. Okay.
Okay.
Now you're back. Sorry for that
Yay.
technical
Short little
mishap.
break.
Yeah. Okay. So one question is, why does anxiety and panic attacks affect so many people?
Great question. Wow. Do I work with a lot of that? One of the reasons is when we have some energy, maybe from a past life that is undiscovered, say you've lived through a trauma in a past life, and I'll give you a great example too. And then you bring it into this lifetime, but it's unresolved and you can't find an origin in this lifetime. It can cause this overwhelming fear, and without having a reason, which makes it worse. And so then it can dissolve into panic attacks. It can be felt as anxiety. Often it's rooted in the fear of loss of control, because you may have had a situation where you did lose control, and there's a memory, a cellular memory, as well as an energetic memory. And so it gets lodged in certain areas of the body, and certain aspects of a physical life may trigger it. Okay, so say if you died in a car crash or some type of movement, and you're having a hard time here in this lifetime, and you have an overwhelming fear of getting in a car or driving, or it can be directly related to a past life experience. You may have no knowledge. You may never have been in an accident. You may not have had any problem, that they could relate to this weird fear. And yet there is a cause. There is a root origin always. So a lot of times, for people that are having anxiety and fear, if we can't find a root here, we look at the triggers and we find out what is triggering it, which is really, really important to identify, because that's going to give you information. That's going to help you untie the knot. It's going to help you get back into a better place of balance and release some of the energy that is causing that symptom. Because your body is a tool for communication. If you're feeling anxiety, if you're feeling panic, if you're feeling fear that is to that degree, you want to pay attention, because it's probably been there prior and you were ignoring it. And I always say the body will get louder and louder and louder. And unfortunately, a lot of people are taught to mute their feelings, to not pay attention to their body. And within the body, the vibrational frequency that you're holding within your body, where your inner baby's jumping up and down saying something doesn't feel right and I don't like this and I'm not happy and I don't like this person or I don't like this, job. If we don't listen, that vibration that's held in the body can create cellular mutation because it's not a high frequency good feeling. It's a low frequency, within your body. So, and that's what I see with a lot of cancer patients. I do work with cancer patients, and they've held on to a belief about themselves that's so negative that they've stayed in situations out of fear and not been able to release situations or beliefs. And so their body is talking to them.
It's trying to say, hello, acknowledge me. I have, I've had a heck of a time here, and I'm ready to be acknowledged and come forward. And yeah, that's a great way of saying that. So hopefully that answers your question. We have a couple of more. So do you believe that in gifts being passed down in family lines?
I do. I have yes, my grandmother actually would talk to me about angels. I was raised Catholic and my aunt was tea leaf reader. And so that did come from my mom's side of the family. And I always thought it was normal. So I didn't know that that what I was seeing and hearing and experiencing was anything but normal. But yes, I do believe that.
Was that on your father's side?
That was on my mom's side.
Your mom's side? Interesting.
Yeah.
Because your father was CIA.
Right.
And your mother was also in government.
Yes.
Right? It's just, it's totally mind-boggling because when I think of CIA, I think of like secret cover-ups. And, and so maybe in the day that they were working, maybe it was a bit better cover-up wise with things, but it's an interesting background.
Well, I was born in Vietnam, in Saigon. And at that time, there were bombings and things were beginning to escalate. And so my father, who was working in communications with CIA, had to leave my mom. My mom had been working for President Eisenhower, and she had eyes-only clearance as well. And then she joined the Foreign Service, went overseas, and met my father, who was in the Air Force and doing communications there. And then he moved in working into the CIA. Well, they were over there, and here are my mom and dad, a baby, and she's hiding under the table as bombings are happening. And my dad had to leave and go shred papers. So they used to tell the craziest stories, all kinds of stories I won't repeat here and now, but it was a really interesting background for me because my father was very much about sciences and quantum physics, and my mom was very spiritual. We went to church every Sunday. And so I had this beautiful foundation for believing in all things unseen, God and multidimensional aspects of the physical world. My father was very much into as I said, quantum physics. And, he was very well aware of Area 51. We as a family had experienced some strange things, and we had lost time experiences. We had experiences with, just things unseen. So it was, it was a great foundation for me because I do have a really strong faith in God. I have a really strong belief, and yet I'm very open and have had a lot of multidimensional experiences. So
I love that. Things unseen. Things unseen. I love that. Okay, so Deborah is coming back and she has a question, or she actually wants to just tell you this. So she says, I have had a reoccurring nightmare since I was 8. I was running from flooding waters in the dark of night. I am not afraid of water, but I do not like to sleep by any body of water. And she says, I am 58, and that nightmare is still very fresh in her mind. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I just had chills running all over my left side. Now, I want to say about energy and spiritual communication, I have a symbolic language that I have with my angels, and those chills on the left side is where we hold a lot of energy of past lives. And I knew before, but it was an indicator and kind of a confirmation. This is very much having to do with a past life. And I would love to look at that with her. What I'm looking at right now that they're showing me is there is a ship, and but I'm looking to see, is she on the ship? I don't think she's on the ship, but I think she crossed water with on a ship. And I do feel like there was a lot of storm. It's just dark. It's dark that they're showing me, and there's a lot of storm energy. There's a lot of, the ship crashed. Okay, the ship did go down. And I don't feel like she died in the process, but I feel like she was one of the survivors, and she may have lost people. And they weren't real far from shore. I see people coming up on the shore. So, there's more of a story there. If I would go in, I would look in depth and see, but I'm not surprised at that. And that's only one lifetime. A lot of times when we have a situation like that, now let's talk about what we're supposed to learn from that, right? Because that's an interesting life experience. Sometimes we're here to grow and learn, and sometimes we're here helping other people grow and learn, right? But that is about faith and trust, and learning to, in that root chakra energy, that you are always safe, that you are always guided, guarded, and protected. And when you come through a life experience like that, you may not feel like that. You may not be able to see the big picture of what that was all about. And so it gets lodged as fear. And then here you come, you bring it into this lifetime for the purpose of studying it. And it really does have to do what Spirit's telling me with her study of safety and security here. And again, going right to the root chakra. So she may be experiencing hip and or back issues, and that has everything to do with her body, talking to her about this fear that's lodged in that area of her body.
I love that. I hope that was helpful for you, Deborah.
Energetically.
Wow. Is there something else there? There's
just
probably a lot of stuff there, right?
Yeah, there's a lot there. But I'm going to disconnect from that past life for now. And typically, like you were saying, when I do a session, if we look at things like that, and I just did a mini clearing, letting go, releasing, but I go in and I clear the energy with people. We have to go back and we have to do the work. I always say, people that come and they see me for these sessions, they're brave. They're willing to look. They're willing to do the work. They want to grow. And the reward is greater health, greater happiness, more, greater well-being, and creating the love that you want in your life, creating the financial flow, whatever it is you want to create, being able to, clear your energy and raise your frequency so that you can start creating more and more what you want to do here.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. I hope that is helpful for you, Deborah. I want to touch on your cards, Vicki.
Okay.
We did that in pre-show, but I wanted to have everybody take a look at your cards and tell them how it works and how they can order your cards.
Okay. So these cards, as I mentioned in pre-show, I channeled angelically. So there are cards that have to do with different areas of the body and systems of the body, whether it be, skin, one of the biggest systems of our body, or chakras, meridians and nervous system. We have soft tissue. I have, they just gave it to me all in order here, bone structure. But they're really, really interesting cards. We combine all the body parts with energy meditations, okay? And the energy meditations incorporate the vibration of color. So for instance, we'll do a little quick reading. Do you want to be my person while I do this?
Sure.
We'll just pull some cards. So okay. I'm just going to pull 3 cards. And the first card is bone structure ribs. Okay, so I'm going to tell everybody how to use these. So the bone structure in the ribs is really important because what does that house? Well, it houses all of our organs here, but it's also about the energy of the heart chakra. And the heart chakra holds a lot of energy of trust. Okay, so what are you doing right now? Well, you're kind of walking in your parents' energy, kind of what we talked about earlier, having to explore the study of learning to trust, trusting that we are all supported, and ribs are about support. Okay.
That's so funny,
So,
Vicki, because my father's cancer is in his ribs.
of course.
It's in the bones in his ribs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it has to do with learning to trust, okay, and the study of trust. So what we'll do now is I'm just going to do one other card and to illustrate, I love it. So we pulled this card, which is a release card, okay, and I'm going to go ahead and read it to you.
Okay.
And it's the energy of lavender. So I'll read this first, and then I'm going to explain how you would use this. I release all negative energy blocking spiritual connection, because what is trust? Trusting that God, source energy, that we're safe and we're protected, guided, and guarded and supported. All resistance is released. My third eye chakra is energized because he has to see this. I embrace trust in my guidance because he has to hear that he is guided and that everything is lining up perfectly for him. I embrace spiritual enlightenment. I am intuitive. Okay, this for you, fabulous, perfect. Because sometimes we're a conduit for the healing space of another as well, but you are also here studying some similar things. So what you would do is you would imagine this beautiful lavender light coming down from above. You would put your hands over your ribs, okay, and you can put them on the sides, you can put them over your heart chakra, and you would allow yourself to read this card and imagine releasing all negative energy, blocking your spiritual connection. You can also put your hand over your third eye if you like, or you can put one here and one here. And for you, that's what they're saying. One here and one here on your heart and right here on the brow. And what you're going to do is you would close your eyes and you would allow beautiful lavender light to come in, flowing in through the body. And imagine it as it goes through your body, expanding in your physical body all the way out, becoming beautiful light and pushing out